And we're back.
Welcome back.
Two
Like,
basic magical four witches. Because
Savannah White.
do the intro. She will always do the outro, and that's okay.
I mean, I would do it. I'm just like not as, I don't know. It gets me really
That's
nervous.
okay.
Believe it or not, the chattiest
so
Kathy, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
She can literally do a solo pod without me, and she's like, "But I can't do the intro."
Talk to myself for like an hour. I'm like, oh my god. And
I
then
love it.
Brittany's is. I'm sure you guys, maybe we told you about this, maybe not. But yeah. Anyways, before we even get into that,
introduce our guest. Yeah, before we do that, we have our guests back. Because we could just talk to them forever, like we did our first episode with them. We have the amazing sisters from Wine Women Wellbeing, Brita and Brianne.
Yay.
We're so happy to have you back. Literally, like
happy to be back.
What were you gonna say?
Me? Oh yeah, I was gonna say yes. Oh yeah, like this is how easy you guys are to talk to, because I'm just like, oh, we're just happen to be recording, you know. No, the episodes that we were doing last year, I did a couple solo, and you did one as well. And I had done it, I aired it and everything, and it was like 45 minutes or 50. It was a long one. Don't remember what it was about. And Britt's like, okay, mine's ready. It was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I didn't even record it right. I didn't even record it right. It was quiet for 15 minutes.
I'm like,
I didn't even turn on the fucking microphone. I was like, nice.
I'm like, literally, we can't release that. That is like a clip it.
I can't do much without Jessica. This has been proven.
You tried. You
I did try, totally. I was like, this is
so stressed. I was so stressed because I was like trying to just ramble off this information, and I was like, oh my god, this is a fucking mess. But and that's okay. Like we talked about in our first episode together, our sisters complete us. They're the yin to our
yo.
That's
Also,
right.
it's so funny. Rita, you're like below me again, and I'm like, girl, what's up?
Like the Brady Bunch.
How are you?
literally.
Exactly. Oh, hi, Britt.
God, I love it so much. Oh my god, you guys already made my face sore from smiling. I love it.
Forward to this for like we've been trying to like reschedule forever, and I know like things just keep getting up. So thank you so much for.
Yes,
I feel like we had a couple Sundays planned, but then we're like, wait a second, Brita's got to go to work.
Monday.
Monday.
Have to get up in the morning.
Monday. And I never know, so I'm just like, that should work for me. And Brianne's like, no, dude, that's Tuesday for you.
Then the one day I'm like, oh no, I did the math really wrong. That is not going to work.
Hey, but at least someone's doing the math because I can't. I literally have to ask, like, what is your time right now? And then I can
just keep counting.
Literally, actually, yeah. I'm just like, I Google like, what time is it in this place? I'm like, okay. And then we just had the time change as well, like, or I guess it was a couple weeks ago. Now, Brita, where you are, do they follow the whatever?
Yes, we changed. Our time changed.
It's like October 1st.
Yeah, I think it was October 1st because my phone was saying one time and then my wall clock was saying a different time. I'm like, oh my god, what have I done? Like, what has happened?
Where am I?
And then I got my vehicle and it was a different time because I don't know how to fix it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna warp.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong.
Help me. Somebody tell me what's going on.
We did go 24 hours and I was like, no, I don't think you guys changed time at all. And then you're like, yeah, we do. Yep, we definitely, I'm an hour more ahead of you now.
Oh my god. Yeah, I know, like I'm like our trips to like Alberta and stuff, like I don't know why, but we always pick to go around that time. And I feel like every time I'm like, I have to Google what time is it in Edmonton or wherever. What time is it in Saskatoon? Okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
Like,
we're good.
Every single time I've traveled to Alberta, it's in like April, what is it, March or November or something, where I get there and that's the day of the time change.
Literally.
Like, I do this every time.
Like every time. That's like the best time to travel. We're like, oh, there this is bad. It's like, and it's daylight savings. Yeah. Like,
anyways, because we could talk to you forever.
About anything. That's
and we could literally do part 3s and like up to infinity. The number doesn't exist.
Yeah, meet our new co-host.
Welcome back to part 20.
Honestly, don't tell me it's a good time. You guys could be our co-host forever.
Exactly. Our guest hosts.
Okay,
that's right. So anytime you need.
Sweet, good. Okay, good. So one thing we talked about in our episode quite a bit together, but we never actually got to, was your stories.
Right.
Oh yeah, your stories.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we got stories.
We literally talked about it, and then we just like went away and like did everything else. And at the end of the
Okay.
episode, I remember Brianne being like, yeah, so we never really got to that story. And afterwards I was like, oh, fuck, we didn't, like, what did we even talk about?
What are we talking about for that whole time? I know exactly. I'm like,
Yeah, we just talked.
We talked about you. We talked about some things. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's great that you guys have stories. I'd love to hear them.
I would so love to hear all the most amazing stories that you guys have had connecting to spirit through for yourself or for other people. And I want to know, like, you had a couple of scary ones in the bank. I'd love to hear those too today. And if anything recent has happened, it's like spirit wise, like I want to know it all. So like I'm literally giving the floor to you two.
Okay.
Okay. Pressure's on.
Where to start? I don't know,
Right?
Brita, where do you want to start?
Well, we should start by saying that you see things like much more visually and I feel them. So I have a sense of
Yeah.
knowing often, and Brianne will literally sort of that will manifest differently for you and I.
Yeah.
We're sort of
Amazing.
two sides of the same coin, I think, which has been very cool.
Mhm.
for
I
us.
love it. love
I don't know, you start.
Well, I'm not sure which one to start with. A recent
neither.
story, which is kind of neat, is just with some friends just hanging out, and it was just kind of like definitely not provoked in any way, but I was just like mentioned to the friend I was with, I was like, does your grandpa, like, is he a small guy? Does he kind of wear gray all the time? And she's like, yeah, why? She's like, he passed away like 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, well, he's here. He's saying hi. And she was like, pardon?
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, I'm not sure, but he's definitely giving you this message. And so it's just like, where it just comes out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
she luckily, like, it didn't scare her or anything. It ended up being perfect timing for her in her world. But I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's, just came out of nowhere. So sometimes it's just happens and
That's
you just
so
roll
wild.
with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was just probably in the last 5 or 6 weeks that it happened. And I was like, oh, it's the first time it's kind of happened in a while. So obviously I was in a space where it needed to happen. Yeah.
Does anything
Yeah.
ever like trigger it? Like I know Jessica's uncle-in-law, it would happen more so like when he was drinking, he felt like the veil was a little bit more thin and then
Yeah.
more messages would come through. Do you feel like when you drink, that's kind of where
Yeah,
the messages
I would
come
say
through?
so. Yeah. And probably
Wow.
because then you're also like more relaxed and, you're also sitting around visiting or in a situation where you take time to allow those things in as well.
Yeah.
When you're just busy in day-to-day stuff, it's hard to kind of focus on those things unless they come right at you. But yeah, definitely drinking for me is one that opens it up a bit more. And you have to be careful because you don't always want it to happen.
Well, yeah. Well, no kidding. Especially if something, I don't know if this again has ever happened to either of you, but if something dark decided to come in when you were a bit more vulnerable, it's hard maybe to then put up that barrier of just like, no, you're not coming in today.
Yes. Yeah,
It
for sure.
actually happened to me last week, which is
really?
wild. Yeah. And I'm not sure. Yeah, it's still very fresh and I'm still kind of processing it, to be honest. But
if you're ready, you don't have to share if it's not the right time.
yeah, no, it's okay. I was just having a conversation with our brother. Like obviously Brianna and I are sisters. So I was talking to one of our brothers.
Yeah. You got one of your brothers, right? You guys are one of four, are you 4 of you?
4, yeah. So
Okay,
Brianna and I, we have 2 brothers.
2 brothers. Okay, yeah.
And I was talking to one brother and we were talking about things, he and I, just things from our past and different things like that. And yeah, we were talking about a particular instance, like a death in our family, that happened a long time ago. But he and I were talking about it, and we don't often talk about it. Brianna and I more so do, but he and I don't. And after we hung up, I just had this overwhelming something took me over, really, and I had really dark, scary thoughts. And I think what I was feeling is what that person had felt.
Wow.
And I never really had that before from this person. And it was awful. It was terrifying. And so I knew it was happening, but it was felt very real, but I knew they weren't my thoughts. So it was probably, I don't know, half an hour of just like this something else. And then it sort of just lifted and I called Brianne and I was telling her about it because I wasn't quite sure what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was very recent, like I said last week, which was
That's crazy.
hadn't happened in a very long time.
Yeah.
What do you doing then when you feel something that you don't like, something like that? What would be something you could maybe kind of guide for somebody who may be feeling the same way as you? Is there anything that you did that you're like, okay, we have more control back here?
I just kept telling myself, okay, this isn't you. It feels like you. It feels very, very, it is real, I guess, in that moment. But I just kept telling myself, it's not, this isn't you. You have to think for a minute, and then just out loud, which sounds a little bit silly if it's never happened, or, for people that don't really understand that. But out loud, I just said, this is not me. You're not welcome here. This feeling isn't welcome. You need to go. This is my space. Like, you're not welcome here. And that seemed to help a lot.
That's good. Kind of taking
Yeah.
ownership. I was going to ask, because we had, when we had you guys on the first time, people were not necessarily fully aware of your gifts, but you're just kind of publicly coming out about them. It wasn't like looking at your resume of things. It wasn't at the top, and that you say it, no, right? So like, I don't know if you guys listened to the episode yourselves, or if you like had any feedback from your friends or anybody else that might have listened to it. Was there any people that were like, I didn't know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a few friends listen and send some messages that were really nice, and they're like, "Oh, I just love listening to you guys and your stories," and it's people who do understand our gifts already, but they're like, "Oh, every time it just gives me goosebumps. Like, remember that time and remember that time," and then they start bringing it up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Kind of forgot that happened." And so it was nice that some people were like, "Oh yeah, we listened to it. It was really good." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
You guys are famous now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's so
Sign the
wonderful.
autograph later.
But no, totally. It's like, what, I don't know who told me this or where I got this from, but it's not a gift unless you share it, right? And the fact that you two have been blessed in such this way, it's like, it's not that you need to, be advertently looking to give this all the time, but the fact that you have this gift, people will not seek you out, but find so much more in you. That's this magical thing. Anyways, but let me say sense. But it is not a gift unless you share it. So continue to share it.
That's right.
Please.
I'm getting a t-shirt that says I see dead people.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna get one that says I hear them.
I feel dead people. I feel them.
I feel
them.
Yeah. I see them, but I don't really see them, but
Exactly. I'm aware that dead people are around me all the time. Actually, I just
ever consider like making your own podcast to talk about whatever you wanted to talk about metaphysical,
or like a YouTube channel or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have talked about it.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas. We just not big on the action part.
Hey, we get it. We're manifestors. We're not. What are we, Jessica?
We're generators. Are we generators? I have no idea.
I don't know. We're the idea man.
We're not
the executors. We're the idea man.
Yeah, we're idea people. We have lots of great ideas. We've traveled to many places in our brains.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, totally anytime, like literally anytime you guys want to jump on the podcast with us and just shoot the shit, then obviously we'll go for it.
Exactly. It gets you guys out there. Love it. Exactly.
So what would you say? I want to go because like this has been going on, like you've been able to connect with spirit for a good chunk of your life. I feel like that's what you guys had told us last time, right?
Yes.
Were you ever in school, like elementary school or high school, when something has happened?
Yes.
That
was, probably the first time I realized it was a thing. I was about 14, I think.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell the story?
Yeah, anyone actually from that time in my life that happens to see this or listen to it, this will resonate with them, and Brianne obviously as well. But we used to in high school just, stupid, you go partying outside. That's
Bush parties. Yeah.
Bush parties.
It's only -15. It's a balmy day for a party.
Exactly,
let's go. And we used to go to this place, this farm, I guess. And there was like a urban legend about this place, and was supposed to be very scary, and like the house was haunted and different things, and people would go there and scare yourselves or each other. Like I never actually went in the house to my knowledge that I recall. But anyway, I was about 14, and all of a sudden this feeling came over me that I could feel who had been there and what had actually happened. and it was
Wow.
tragic. And I remember telling the friend I was with, he's passed since. But at the time I told him, and I was like, I just need to go home. And he did. He took me home and was like, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know that it's not fun. It's not, I don't want to, it was always kind of a joke, you scare, like, especially as kids. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's haunted, it's haunted. And I was like, no, I really believe that it is differently haunted. I just,
Yeah,
definitely
something
is
bad
haunted.
actually happened here.
not super wanting to go back. So he did. He took me home, drove me home that time. And so it was probably the first time as kids, I think Brianne and I, like when we were young, I'm just looking because I can see your little square there. I think when we were kids, Brianne and I would see and feel things in our house, like our parents' home, like where we grew up, I mean. But that was sort of this was a sort of the first time that it happened with other people. Not that they knew, right? I didn't really talk about it, but it was probably the first time I recall, it was about grade 9, I guess, where I went like, wow, that was weird. But at the time, I remember thinking like maybe I made that up.
Maybe it was booze.
Well, yeah,
Right.
so much
Maybe
easier
it
to
was
talk
booze,
yourself out of it.
maybe it was whatever, like you
Yeah.
have those. I was very reluctant to tell people because
Yeah.
I was like, well, they're gonna think I'm crazy.
Well, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Especially when you're that young, you're like, yeah, right. I'm not going to be the one that's like, oh, she sees ghosts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
That's your whole brand for the rest of high
That's
school.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, aside from that one friend, well, I'm Brianne, like we obviously that was a given, but
Yeah.
even that, I don't think Brianne, you and I talked about it at
No,
length
we
when we were
didn't.
little. It was till we were
No, we
older.
both, like, if there was something that, like scared us, we would talk about it, but it was always like, you always just, or myself anyway, just felt like, oh, I'm the only one who experiences this. So it's not like you're ashamed to say anything, but at the same time, you just don't bring it up. It's like, well, I dealt with that. No one else will get it. So you just carry on. And I think it wasn't until actually probably Brita in the last recent years that you and I, like, I remember one time we were just sitting in your house and I said, like, this overwhelming feeling came and you're like, me too. And I was like, well, who do you think it is? And then you said who you thought it was. And I'm like, okay, guaranteed. I was like, we're both on the same page with the exact same thing, except she was doing the hearing and I was doing more of like the mental visualizing of what was taking place. And it was like identical. And then that happened a few times. And I was like, okay, well, number one, I'm not crazy because this is actually happening. And number two, like our stories are correlating 100%. So that's kind of when we first started realizing that we had kind of a yin and a yang kind of shared gift.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't think I mentioned this in our first episode together, but I got to see it firsthand when we had our event in Saskatoon and we had like kind of a just a night together and you guys were kind of reading a couple people in the group. I won't say names obviously because I don't want to I want to keep them anonymous just because it's a pretty sensitive story, but it was just so amazing to see you both connect with their loved one in different ways and just to be able to explain to them what was going on at the time of their passing, what's going on now, any messages that they should receive at that time. It was just so incredible. So
it just it does come out of nowhere. So it's when we both pick up on it, it's just like, okay, well, sit back and get ready because it's coming. Like whether you want to hear it or not, like this is coming through pretty strong. So
amazing. Yeah. And it can be anyone, hey, like literally you could be around anyone and all of a sudden just pops up.
Well, strangers too.
I betcha.
Can you tell us a stranger story so that way,
or have you ever
know them anyway?
Well, Brita, you had the Kelowna story when we were all there together for one of our other events, just sitting at that restaurant and the pictures started all turning and and
okay, so
you like just had to like the girl at the next table. It's like, this is gonna sound crazy, but then she was just kind of taken aback, like, how would you even know that? You're a complete stranger. Like, well, I don't know, but I had to tell you.
I forgot about that, Brianne. That was an intense one actually, now that you say it. It's funny because it happens and then Like you just go back to your life.
Totally. You're like,
Yeah.
you're
You're like, okay,
possessed for like a
bye.
minute and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It's
gonna
like,
drop a
We're
quick
sorry about
bomb on
that
you
was
and leave.
that was really weird, but enjoy your steak and
Yeah.
I'll be
Exactly.
heading home now.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Can you tell us the story so that way our listeners can be as excited to listen?
Only if you
Brianne,
want to.
tell it.
Well, I'm actually trying to remember what the message was that you had to give, but it was just sitting there all together. And then you're like, do you see that? And I'm like, well, I feel it. I don't see it yet. And you're like, all the pictures are completely crooked. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, they haven't done that. And that's kind of a sign, especially for Brita, is if
Yeah.
pictures are shifting. And then we'd like put
Oh.
one back and you could literally see it actually shifting. And yeah.
Wow.
And it's like,
Interesting.
oh, okay. And then
That's probably
and
the first visual thing that I noticed
is
like
so
around this gift is literally I can now, Brianne and I, we can concentrate and actually watch it happen in that moment now. But at the time when it first started happening, or I noticed it, I guess, it would be straight and then I would look away and it would be like noticeably crooked. So
wow.
like if it's hanging like this,
Yeah.
it's now like this.
Wow.
yeah, not a slight shift, but actually moving.
Not a
And
slight
then the
shift,
one
like
time
not
you
like
heard
someone
them
nudged
moving,
it.
No,
Pardon,
it's
Brianne?
like,
the one time in your own home you heard them moving, like with those
Yeah.
little sticky dots on the back. And it's like,
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. Does that ever
Yeah.
like alarm you? Like, are you ever scared when that happens, or do you feel like,
That
okay,
was-
let me
that
get
was
my pen and
scary.
paper here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a different feeling. It's the pictures moving or being moved, like in my presence, has happened a lot. And there's a marked difference. So oftentimes it'll happen and it's not scary. It's something for me to pay attention to.
yes.
Usually it's something like there's something off. If that makes sense, whether it's
Yes.
something to pay attention to. But the time that Brianne's talking about was, I knew it was bad. Like I knew it was something not good.
Dark.
Whereas in, yeah, very dark. In Kelowna, the feeling was like, I remember now, was that girl was with his parents. It was like a couple,
Yeah.
younger couple. Like, I don't know, maybe they're 25, 30. And I knew she shouldn't be with him, is what it was.
Yeah, and the
And-
pictures just kept turning as like until you say something to her, we're just
Right,
going to
yeah.
keep doing this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, guys,
Yeah, it was
hear you.
Yeah,
obviously
I
a weird
get it.
experience.
And then it did
Yeah.
stop. After Breach said
Yeah.
something, that just stopped.
Yeah. How would
Yeah.
you address that? Like, how would you get that message to her, like, without saying,
You know,
Well, you
offending
order
the
another
family?
bottle of wine and then
Yeah.
you address it.
Yeah.
exactly? Oh my gosh.
And that's the thing is really in those moments, often that happens, like where I'm compelled to say something is usually when I've been drinking.
Yeah.
And I think when you mentioned that veil being thinner,
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for that. I think it opens up. I mean, you let your guard down, like me personally,
Yeah.
but I think you open up to a lot of those things. So yeah, I ordered like another bottle of wine and I was like, well, this is gonna be weird.
Yeah.
do you ever
How-
just go over
and
with
it
a
was.
shot or?
Yeah. Sorry,
Well,
how
especially
did they react?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
So
I think
did
it's
there,
shock.
yeah,
she
I
just
was gonna
didn't
say there
know.
wasn't a reaction like, you watch the Long Island Medium on TV and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
thank you. I was waiting for my
Yeah.
grandma. This was more like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
she was looking around and I was looking around and people were like, what are you doing? And I was like, "Not much."
I'm so curious. Like, what do you say? Be like, excuse
Yeah.
me, but the pictures won't
Yeah.
leave me alone. You can't
Yeah.
be with this family.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
This is a really
Essentially,
bad
The
life
writing's
choice.
on the wall, man. The writing's
Yeah.
on the wall.
I think I just said to her something like that, I think I said to her, if you feel like something's off, I would pay attention to that. Right. Like
Yeah.
I didn't say to her, like, he's abusive and you shouldn't be marrying into this family. You know that. Right. Like I didn't
Any
approach it that way. but
hesitancies? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Just
it was more like,
anything.
I know you feel there's something off, so you should pay attention to that.
Mhm.
Wow.
Okay. And that was enough, obviously. I mean, you never know. I guess we'll never, if this person's listening, you never know,
Yeah.
I suppose. But
Well,
like,
and at that point too, I had kind of led Brita aside and I said, you can't do this right here. Like,
Yeah.
this is not the place for not the interaction that you want to have with this
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
at this very tight table with
Yeah.
him and his
With-
family sitting here.
With
So it
family.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was a subtle nudge of trust yourself, and I think you already know. And then we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta go.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Time to go.
And you know what? Then you did
Yeah.
your job. You're like, someone had to
Just
tell
fix the
you.
picture and carry
Right.
on.
Exactly. I just gotta fix that. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna head out now.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier. I
Can
would
we
say
get
the
a
way,
cork for this? Never mind.
Yeah,
the way you
exactly.
did it. Yeah, the way you did it was probably better than like following her to the bathroom. Do you know what I mean? Or like,
Can you
Yeah.
imagine being
Right?
doused off?
Terrified.
And
been
the next
waiting
stop,
for
like,
you.
Lock the door.
Listen, listen.
Yeah.
Listen,
I gotta tell you
got a
something.
message.
They're not who they think they are, or who you think they are.
Well,
In the
and I-
fucking bathroom. Can you
It is.
imagine?
It,
Well,
that's
who knows?
like that.
Probably have done all different things. You're just like, cool.
Totally. Like, and
Yeah.
luckily, I mean, that's why I need Brianne so much, and it's hard being apart for
You
she
are.
and I think, but yeah, oftentimes Brianne is my voice of reason. She's very much, like I'm very emotional, like that hits and I'm just like, man, I got to tell this girl.
Impulse.
Like very impulsive, like it hits me. And then I feel like, okay, I need to get that across.
Yeah.
And Brianne's often the voice of reason, like, okay, I'm not saying you don't feel that. Yes, I also watch the pictures. However, it's 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like, we have to figure out how to work into this.
And we've been drinking.
That's right. And you've been drinking. And you're not super quiet when you've been drinking, and the girl already
Yeah.
knows something weird's going on.
Exactly.
Have
She
a chunk
probably-
of the focaccia and let's go.
Exactly.
You've been whispering.
especially
25
when you had
She's
already
probably heard
noticed.
the thing.
Yeah.
I see dead people. Like, she's caught
How
on.
do I tell her? Just tell her. Don't,
Yeah. I marry him.
don't do
God.
it now.
I
She
have to
can't.
tell that girl. Stop. Take a breath. So
Oh,
yeah, I forgot about that one, Kelowna. That one hit fast. You're right.
yeah. And then it was
I
time
think
to go.
Yeah, then it was time to go. Pack it in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's enough. Run, run, run.
Pay-
Oh, that's
Pay
so
for our
funny.
cheese board and let's head out.
Exactly. Yeah. How fun,
Oh
Kelowna.
my god, that's
Oh
so
my
funny.
But the picture thing that, sorry, I do that because that's sort of how I visualize it in my head, happens all the time.
Really?
In fact, yeah, it just happened. Was that yesterday? Yesterday, I went to, so I'm obviously in Australia. I don't have a
Yeah.
ton of friends here, but I stopped by a friend's place,
Yeah.
actually just to pick something up. And I was just sitting in the living room, and the friend said, "Oh, that's a picture of my mom and my sister." And it was like a
I start
canvas,
laughing. I'm
right? Like it was like a canvas. you
really
know,
fucking imagine just.
yeah, I did, and I was like, "Oh, I hope they didn't see that." And it went from, it was like a not frame, but you know how the wraparound canvas,
Yeah.
and it was in the hallway, and I was sitting on the sofa or the couch or whatever, and so they were sitting over here, my friend, and I looked
Yeah.
over, and the friend said, "Oh, you've never, I've never met mom or sister. That's my mom and my youngest sister." And I was like, "Cool." And then I was like, "Huh." Something didn't feel cool. Like it was hard to explain. I wasn't gonna say anything. And
Yeah.
then, no kidding, about 12 seconds later, I looked back, and that canvas painting had gone from straight to like that. And I know
Wow.
it did because there was a picture above it that
Yeah.
remained straight. So
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah.
And like, and nobody
mean-
else noticed it. Hey.
No. And it wasn't weird for me because it happens all the time, but it's always that moment, especially when you're kind of new friends with someone, you're thinking like, "Oh my gosh, are they going to be like, did you see that?" Right? Like, is it going to be a thing? And like, she didn't notice, but I thought, "Oh, wow." So there was just a feeling
Mhm,
like something's not quite right. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, just sort of, yeah. And it happens often,
Wow.
all the time.
Interesting.
That must be so hard not to address it though at the moment because I'm sure part of you is just like so curious to be like, okay, what's
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
what are you trying to tell me?
What an
Yeah.
interesting sign. I don't know why, but like in my head, I'm like, I feel like I've seen people with that sort of like sign before, but the best way I can describe it is if like there's a balloon following you around when you arrive, do you know what I mean? And you're like, and it's like floating up and you're like, it's like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, you're like, just get down.
Yeah, totally like,
Not today.
Not
not
today.
today. Not today.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. My gosh. Yeah. That's
I
crazy.
love that
That's
so much because
crazy wonderful, right? Like,
yeah, like everyone
It is.
has their own ways of like spirits trying to come through. Like we've met people that their nose itches or they have to clear their throat, or for me it's if I'm getting like super dizzy, I know someone's trying to like pound a message through being like, hello, I need to talk to you.
Mine is my hands.
yeah.
The
Okay.
energy comes through my hands. Yeah. If I start like rubbing my two hands together,
Yeah.
and then Brita sees it and she's like, oh, something's off. What's
It
going on
happens.
here? And it, yeah.
Yeah.
And the more
Yeah.
intense the feeling is, the more I rub my hands together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's
Mine's
so cool.
Mine's not like mine's like the tug in the arm a little bit. Like I used like the best way I can describe it is like somebody's like going like this to my arm. But that's
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Because
Really?
I know there's more for you yet if I like can feel it. I'm like, oh, there's more to come out in my readings or whatever.
Right. That's neat.
Yeah. It's
God,
yeah.
so cool.
so just such a diverse world that we live in doing all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
Really.
All of our weirdness shows in
All of our
different ways.
weirdness. Hey,
Yeah.
it's great. You know what?
Put it in a bowl. It's just a salad of weird.
Exactly. It's a wonderful, weird, wonderful world we live in.
Yes, it is. It is.
So because we are on a little bit of a time crunch, shall we
Yes.
pull some
Yeah,
cards?
let's pull some cards.
Do it up.
Do it.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna do.
Hopefully
Oh yes,
do
okay.
that with a baby who's very needy. Obviously, he's been
Do
in
your
the video already.
best.
So funny.
Okay.
It's like he knows it's podcast time because then he's like, "Excuse me."
Okay,
And then he's in there. No, you
like-
sit.
yeah, it's like I'm the basic baby. Come on.
Basically.
Get him like pumpkin spice latte.
Legit, duh.
Does he
Um,
have
Honestly, though. Yeah, like he,
Right? I'm sorry, I keep coughing.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna read from my postcards from Spirit. So by
Alright.
Colette Bernie. I usually do like my animal spirit and whatever else, but it's tucked away in one of my work bags. I'm like, should I go get it? I was like, you know what? I just feel like there's other ones that need to come out. So this is where I'm going here. So as the ladies may remember, we read for, the estimated time that this comes out. We have no set date yet for this one. So collective reading. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay. So this is like written in the form of a postcard from a loved one, if I could kind of preface that. So it says, dearest you, all your prayers are heard and mirrored back to you from the unseen realms. We're grateful, praise things before they manifest, and always ask for the highest good. When you plead and beg that will bring only you, I cannot fucking talk today. When you plead and beg, that will bring you only more reasons to plead and beg. Instead of offering your prayers as sacred gifts, as testaments to your faith in a higher power. I can't even read. Instead, offer your prayers as sacred gifts, as a testament to your faith in a higher power. Open up and let spirit move through you and comfort you. Add meditation as a way to become empty, so you will be ready to be filled with inspired epiphanies, peace, understanding, and joy. In this moment, your prayers are being answered for the highest good of both you and all life. Sometimes what you pray for is not supposed to happen for you, and your prayers will be answered in surprising ways. At this moment, we are listening intently to your prayers and want you to know that your highest good is our priority. All is well. So whatever.
I like that.
I like the fact that it's like, it's not always meant for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, sometimes what you pray for is not supposed to happen for you. And that's, an important lesson. You can pray and hope for it, but you can't stop living your life because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, because it's not about like redirection. It's
Exactly.
sometimes you're supposed to be redirected to something else that is meant for you, but because there's a reason why this isn't supposed to work out.
Exactly. And when we're hyper focused on this and only this, then we lose out on everything else around us, right?
Remember Garth Brooks said, one of God's greatest gift is unanswered prayers.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So sorry, I keep talking.
Sorry. We grew up on Garth. I was like,
Good old Garth. That's one of his songs, isn't it too?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah. I love Garth Brooks. His concert in Saskatoon, one of his concerts, like whatever it was like amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So good.
So
All
good.
right.
Okay,
So
neat.
this card that I got from my newest deck, Moonology Messages Oracle.
That's pretty.
It was gifted to me actually,
Pretty.
which was
Mm.
awesome. I've been wanting it for so long, and then I had an amazing friend just like, I'm buying it for you. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So
No,
the
no,
card
okay,
that I-
yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in a bag.
Okay,
Yeah, my
good,
birthday's
good.
in May, just so you know.
Good to know. That's we should have our favorites list and like put them as like an Amazon link for everybody. Let's create us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
our wish
Things
list.
I am very poor and gifted.
Please send me decks.
Decks of cards. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't need your money. I just want tarot decks and oracle decks.
Right.
Just metaphysical things, please and thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the falling moon release blocks. Something about your situation is blocked. There could be some repressed emotions swirling around your current situation that needs to be released. Anger in particular could be blocking you right now. Yes, Harrison. This is a problem because emotions are like water as you ride along the river of life. Block your emotions, and it's as though the river has dried up. So you can no longer cruise or drift or even lurch forward. We'd all like a straight answer to our questions, Garth. But sometimes the answer is inside you, and you need to release all the rubbish that is blocking that answer from surfacing. This card reminds you to practice self-care and process your emotions. It's a myth that being strong and silent is healthy. It's healthier to allow yourself to express your emotions, and that may be exactly what you need to do as a response to your current situation. If you believe that insecurity on your part is currently holding you back from success, this card is a reminder that only you can work on yourself. So additional meanings are: be honest about your feelings, take anger management lessons, breath work will help you, ask someone older than you for advice, and you've lost your way and need to recalibrate. Oh my goodness, has to be involved in the messages. Okay, was there anything else that needs to happen?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jess, this is really weird, but are you in the midst of trying to make a huge decision right now?
Yeah, like pretty not like not moving back decision, but like no, because she wishes, and I would, I wouldn't say a huge decision, but I have definitely felt stalled, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like I don't know where like the get up and go is gonna go, or where it went, and why I just can't. Yes. So yes, I do.
Since we started talking, I could just see like a crossroad.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you're standing there. And I just had to say something before we hang up because
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And like you're always welcome to say something if you have something. I always say that to like my friend because we're open to it all, not to put any pressure on anybody.
Wanting me to pull cards for her for a while, but I haven't had time. So that's an amazing.
Literally, yeah. So good to know. I know I need to I don't know what I need to do. I think that's part of it is like I don't even know, but I am at a point in my life where I'm like, I've lost the energy I felt. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, like I'm installed as in like I didn't get some not bad advice. It wasn't bad advice, but I had a moment with a medium and a good deep chat, very helpful chat. But then like following that, I've just felt like really scared. Not scared, just like
hesitant.
Stuck.
Yeah, stuck, hesitant, withdrawn from the area where I was like literally so passionate about a month ago. Right.
Yeah,
Whereas now I'm just kind of
Is there any messages that are coming through that you can let her know other than that she's just at a crossroads?
Okay.
I just keep hearing like you already know. You already know and just trust that, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. I already know. I don't even know. Like, what do I know? Tell me.
I'm glad it's for you, not.
What do I know?
I'm glad it's for you, not me, because I'm like, I don't have a damn clue.
Literally. Yeah, that's okay. I know I'm the same. I'm like, I don't even know. But I got to do some like deep discovery, I think. And like, it's okay that things are the way they need to be. I feel like it's a good time to reassess and pivot if I need to. Right. And,
Yeah.
So.
It just says feeling of like, trust yourself.
Yeah.
Because you do trust yourself, but something shook that. So
yeah, that's literally okay. I'll trust myself. If something seems off, it probably is.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. That's so true. Well,
Love
thank
that.
you very much.
That's
I really
amazing.
appreciate it. I really do. And for any listeners out there, you're welcome to lend me your ears if you want. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's
for all of us. Anyone got a
yeah,
message? Send it my way.
send it
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Yeah,
Tell me what
exactly.
to do. And apparently
Yeah.
moving
We're good
back
at
to
giving them-
Saskatchewan is
we're
not
good at
the
giving
It's
them
not
more.
I mean, it's not that it's not what I want. It's just not in the roster of
no, it's
important
not in the
things
cards
right
right
now.
now. I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
But oh my gosh, well, thank you guys so much for coming
Thank
back.
you.
Thank
This is
you.
so good.
And we definitely want you on more often just because we can
Yeah.
talk about everything.
Absolutely.
You're so
Yeah,
easy
we're
to
always
chat
willing.
with. It's an
Once we
instant
figure out our
connection.
time
I love
zones,
it.
we're good.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's the thing. That's exactly it.
Full
Once we
sister.
have and there's no other like additional time changes within that time change.
For
We're
6
good.
months.
Then we're even
For
better.
6 months,
Yep.
we're good. And then
Oh, we
and then
did
it'll be
it.
shit,
Now we
and then it'll
know.
be good. Exactly.
That's right. Now we know. I know
That's
8 a.m. on Sunday, I'm getting up.
Yeah, get
That's
that.
right.
Exactly. I'm so sorry to do that too. We could could we do it any differently? Probably.
No, I like it.
That's kind of about it.
I feel like
Exactly.
because
I'm ready to
alternatively,
go.
But
I'm like trying to think, like if we do like 6 more hours, I'm like, no, that's like middle of the night for me.
Yeah, no.
We
Good.
can't even do the math when we're sitting with the calculator, so we're not
That's
doing it right now.
that's right.
Right.
We need visuals, a whiteboard, 4
Literally.
different colored markers.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
is a triangle?
What does it mean? Exactly. Why are there squares? Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys want to promote at all while we have you? Like, is there anything coming up for Wine Women Wellbeing Saskatoon, or is there anything in your worlds that you'd like to throw out there for people?
We're hoping to have some stuff coming up in the new year. Right now, it's just been a transition with Brita moving and,
Yeah, of course.
ironing out all of our details because we do everything together. So
Of course.
have to find some way to make a blow up doll of her or something.
Yeah. Or
Hey,
if
that
you,
could
if
sell.
you want to stand it until she comes back,
Like-
I can be stand-in.
Exactly. There you go. A blonde,
Hey, definitely.
a B,
We can do
a
that.
B-R-I-T,
Similar
a
name.
B-R-I-T.
We were B cubed.
Yep,
We were
we
B
were.
cubed for the
We
tour,
were
so
B
we
cubed.
could do
Yep.
it again.
We could do it. Okay, well, we'll be in touch.
Okay,
That's
deal.
awesome.
Amazing.
Well-
Oh my
well,
gosh. And Justin,
awesome.
where can they find us today? Where's
All right, friends. Blah, 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 blah. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Basic Banter for Witches, or you can email us basicbanterforwitches@gmail.com. And yeah, it's been
Awesome.
great as always. It's been so good. I look
As
forward to having you
always.
guys back on. It's so good. You,
Love you, girl.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
everybody,
Let us
enjoy your
know.
day and your
You
your
too.
full day there, Brita, and the afternoon for you girls, and it is nighttime here. So I'm
Okay.
about
I want-
ready
Jess.
for
Yay.
bed.
I want to lie
Good.
and say
Have
I'm
a
gonna
good
go
night.
work out, but I'm not.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Thanks,
good.
ladies.
We love you
Always
guys.
a
so much.
Love
pleasure.
you guys so much. We'll
And
see
we'll
you
see
soon.
everybody next week.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Love you.